I'm slightly under the influence. So like I feel like I have to say that because I feel like there's just shit going on that I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably say things. So I've been planning this video about not saying anything negative about the like therapy field. And also I think like also being like put on a very weird pedestal. So not saying anything negative. Let's go with the first thing. Not saying anything negative and criticism. Let's go over that too. Not saying anything negative about the mental health field is like very bizarre. It makes me feel like I am a Stepford wife. I feel like I have to be like, everything is fine in this field. You should just come here and do all of these things because that's how you should do this. Come on, you know you want to be a therapist, right? But and like being like, I'm bound by ethics to not tell you anything negative about this field. That's weird. Isn't that fucking weird? Like, I just want to be like, hey, maybe there are some things about this field that just are a little bit unfortunate. Things like people have issues with paying copays. People have issues paying, even if they are rich and fucking loaded, like paying for anything. I actually had a very rich client one time be like, I guess if you need the money, we can pay you. I'm like, yes, you can totally pay me for services that were rendered. Okay. It's not like I'm doing anything here that you don't know about. You have documentation that this is happening, you know. They were also slightly neglectful of their adopted kids. So, I mean, you know, as much as you can help people sometimes, yeah. I've worked with a lot of adopted kids, so I'm like, you know, this is one of those things where I'm like, I will get into the criticisms later. But like, there's things where it's like, do you want to do paperwork? You don't? Well, you're going to have to pay a company to do that. Do you want to make sales phone calls? If you don't, you're going to have to pay other people to do that for you. Or you're going to pay to be on a platform that you probably don't like, or you're going to be in a facility that you don't like that gives you 60 patients per week and tells you that you have to have hour-long sessions with each one of them. Good luck with that. Um, you know, there's just shit in this field. And then, like, therapists are not nice to each other. I feel like I've said this before. And I feel like there's probably a whole video about this where I've just been like, oh God, I don't know how, like, I mean, there's therapists who are just like, I don't know if you should have ever become a therapist. And it's like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe it would have been helpful if people actually talked about things that they didn't like about the field, like having to argue with insurance companies and like insurance companies. It's almost like a very bad relationship. And then some of them are very good relationships. So, very bad relationships, you're like begging, and they're like, um, I don't know. I just don't feel like paying you right now. You know, like you submitted this documentation, but you didn't put enough energy and emphasis on like what you did. So like, I'm not gonna pay it. Then I had this happen recently. Submitted something to so being paneled means that you're like accept that insurance. Okay, it's not a place that I'm paneled with. They paid me more. There were two insurances. They they were the main insurance. The secondary insurance always it would pay me anyway. I'm paneled with the second insurance. The first insurance paid me more than the second insurance would have ever paid me. And it was so much like, wait, what? Like, you just paid me? And they're like, yeah, you did the work. You have this money. It's a little extra. It's like, wait, what? Yeah, I got you. It's so like, I don't like, oh, well, okay, I guess. Well, I mean, that's nice. Thank you. Are you sure there's nothing that's gonna happen with this? We're all good. Like, I mean, and there are some insurances that are great. The secondary is always wonderful. They've never given me too much of an issue before, like ever. Um, so yeah, like I was fully expecting to now from the first insurance go to the second insurance, but to just have something that was just like we're all good was like, um, are you sure? Like, maybe I don't know how to react to this in any proper way because insurance companies make me want to burn buildings. I can't say those things. I mean, I shouldn't say those things, but I mean, they're actual feelings and thoughts. Um, so yeah, like sometimes insurance companies are great. Sometimes they're like absolute shit. Sometimes people want to pay you, sometimes they don't want to show up, and then they're like, well, that's your fault. Okay. Sure, it's my fault. You don't want to come to your sessions. And then you have like random people online who will just be like, so I think that you're scamming people. And I'll be like, okay, how do you think I'm scamming people? And they'll be like, I don't know, you should tell me. And I'm like, um, okay, that's weird. Um, and then you like, so I'm over here like worried about like how my files are kept. If I've ever said anything that might be too much information for anyone to like maybe figure out, unfortunately, who one of my clients is or something. You know, even though I'll be like, oh yeah, you know, one of my clients, we worked together on test anxiety. They were in high school at the time. Do you know who that is? Like, um, I'll get to that later. Um, but like the like there are people who will be like, you can't tell those things. That's not things for you to tell. But also like that's not something that like is so outside of the realm that you couldn't just talk about it. You know, like that's so weird. So I'm over here worried about all of these things and, you know, taking input from other colleagues being like, you never say anything about your clients. Oh my God, why are you saying anything about your clients? Why are you saying anything about your clients? And then you have the people who will out and out be like, yeah, so I got caught um taking money, you know, and not losing my license over shit that you're like, so many people are practicing who have not um, done the completely ethical things. And it is very frustrating to know that, like, so what there was another creator who shared this about um, how a therapist really, really, really did con one of their clients out of like a lot of money. Just like, oh, well, we're gonna get a place together, we're gonna go on vacation together, give me $20,000, and that person still has their license. And like, there's things where I'm just like, there was a therapist in Connecticut who was so close to one of the families that they counseled. Oh my God, it is so gross. I can't, oh my God, that like he was at the house waiting for contractors. You could not pay me enough. Um, and then some shit happened with their kid, and I'm just like, why did you become a therapist? Like, you have to tell me exactly why you became a therapist. Like, I cannot understand the concept of having such poor boundaries with your clients that you would be at their house waiting for contractors. Again, you could not pay me enough. Like I want to be in the office with my clients any day. Whenever something takes me away from that, I'm kind of upset. It's just one of those things. So the criticisms. So I think one of the worst things that ever happened was that like a famous art therapist like criticized me so bad that I was just like, never mind. I don't want to identify as an art therapist anymore. And sometimes I go back and be like, fuck you, I'm gonna identify as an art therapist and hopefully one day I will reveal your name and you will lose every fucking bit of credibility that you have. But it was just surprising that like little me expressing my little opinion in little Connecticut, just doing my thing, upset someone so much that they needed to come after me and continually come after me. And when I called them a bully instead of an asshole, because bully has a legal um, representation, or like a definition, whereas asshole doesn't. So you can call someone definitely an asshole because that's an opinion. This asshole, and they know exactly who they are. And I hope that you're fucking watching because, of course, why wouldn't you fucking not watch? Because you're just waiting for this moment, aren't you? um, that like they just, it was so disappointing to find out that a colleague can't fucking control themselves on the internet, even though they are teaching. They are doing workshops. They're basically manipulating a whole group of people to be their fucking followers. And like writing books, editing books, just teaching everything that you can do other than actual art therapy. And they're the ones who are trying to be like, isn't it interesting that you have a license? You know, it'd be sad if anything might happen to that license. What would you do if you were licensed as a professional art therapist in Connecticut? Right? You might want to go for that. I have been through Connecticut before. So maybe you want to think about that. It's so uncomfortable and like fucking weird veiled threats that I'm just like, but that is intimidation, right? That is intimidation, right? That is intimidation. And they don't think that's bullying. So they're just an asshole in my book. And also the Art Therapy Association doesn't think that that's bullying because of course they're like the knowledgeable one and I'm just the stupid one, right? Because I can't be like knowledgeable about shit, right? After 2 masters, I can't be knowledgeable. So there is a creator and she is like, do not tell the stories of your clients. And I disagree with this. And actually, my clients disagree with this too. I have actual signed permission from many of my clients to share their stories as long as I just like use non-descriptors. Oh, there was someone who was in their 20s in Connecticut. Oh, there was someone in their 30s in New York who I counseled. It is never like, oh, Bill Clinton was my client. I would never. But sorry. There's so many things where I'm like, no, I'm not the therapist. I can't tell you that I'm the therapist. But if a bunch of therapists admitted that they were therapists to this person, then it's supposed to be a joke. We can't break confidentiality. Anyway, so she's like, you cannot tell the stories of your clients. And I'm like, well, first of all, I make sure that this is educational and I try to make it educational. Second, I think that it is completely okay to talk about clients who have like test anxiety and how, you know, it was, addressed in therapy. Come to therapy and figure that out for yourself. Oh, come to therapy when you have rare diseases or when you struggle with chronic illness or when you have depression or significant trauma or you've been adopted or, the whole bunch of stuff that like all these therapists and my colleagues are very well equipped to deal with. And it's like, so we're never allowed to just go online and say, so I had a client, and like, it is really interesting. Like, we do have to talk about these things and we do have to have like a network of things where we're just like, ugh, and not just about our notes. Cause like, I do not get the thing about notes. First of all, let me tell you that legally, And ethically, we don't actually have to keep notes. The thing is that like places that we pay, right, um, to keep our medical records, not me, but other people, do require that we keep some sort of notes. It is important to keep notes, but you really just only have to keep a record of who came and for how long. That's all that they're like, that's all that the insurances really want to know. And the insurances are the one who want to know all the stupid fucking insane details. They'll be like, there was one time I had a client who's like insurance lapse. She went to another insurance, had that insurance, and then like went back to like the nicer insurances. So the one that she went to briefly, they did not, I was not paneled with them. I did not accept their insurance. And because I didn't accept their insurance, it wasn't what they call an HMO. It means you have to go to someone who was paneled, right? So instead of just telling me we had to reject the claim because it was someone, like we had to like find someone who was paneled. What they did instead, was give us all your notes. I send over my notes and they're like, well, you didn't say when the person was in and when they were out and when you started the session and when you stopped the session. And that's going to be an issue. And you didn't say this and you didn't write the way that we wanted you to. And we didn't do this and you didn't do that. And And it was like, none of that was actually legally required. It's just something that they kind of want. And so I let them know this and they were like, well, if you're not going to give us any more information about like, you know, when this person came, actually timed into their sessions and when they timed out of their sessions, then we're not going to pay you. And I was like, you weren't going to pay me anyway. This is an HMO and I'm not paneled. So like, you could have just said that from the onset instead of making me do all of these things. But what did they do? They made me do all the work. They made me take all of that time away from my clients who, you know, actually deserve my time to try and, I don't know if I can prove that I provided services that I actually provided. Like, why is this such a fucking issue? I hope the people who fucked up that situation I don't even know, die peacefully. Like, I'm not going to be mean, but like, you know, sometimes it's just like, I hope you have a early death, but that it's peaceful. Like, maybe there's just something there that you've done fucked up. Um, you know, it just sucks. And it's a very, again, Stepford Wives to be like, you should just become a therapist. We never have any issues. We have so much stuff that's going on. And also that like people go between like absolutely respecting me and like being like, well, you have, you know, this expertise, you have this information, you should know how to manage all of this. And then like going to, you don't know what the hell you're doing because I'm someone on the internet who has an issue. Who remember when I was like, things that I wish I could say to people, like you have mommy issues and now you're going onto the internet to like just bully women who are more like impressive than you. So you have to be like, I will tear you down. Okay, a little fucking person who means nothing. Sure, okay. I guess I'm somehow committing fraud, but that fraud that you can't prove because you don't know what's actually happening and I'm actually an ethical person. It's almost funny. If it wasn't like, you know, actually concerning, that people will be like, I will report you. Okay. And then what? And then what? Um, okay. I'm pretty sure that most of the places where I am actually licensed will be like, we don't think that you actually are doing anything that's like against ethics. And it's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything that's against ethics. That's how it goes. Because I care. Because I actually want to be here. The other thing that I think is kind of like, it it just rubs me the wrong way because like I became a therapist to be a therapist to actually like help people to like be one-on-one with my clients. I always think of it as like I am helping worldwide. I know this is so, it's like, it's slightly egocentric, but it's like one of those things where I'm like, well, my legacy cannot live on in like children because I don't have any. So, like, my legacy lives on in people. And I help people have connections to their community. And the better that they have a sense of their community and a sense of themselves and a sense of connection, then the more that they can, like, be happy and, like, kind of like pass that along and, like, say a nice thing, do a nice thing to, like, other people, like, that's my legacy. That is what I'm going to leave to the world. Okay. I guess other than these videos. But like I I'm like, man, I was going somewhere with that. Jesus, where was I going? It was with like other people and like their shit. Um like I became a therapist to be a therapist, right? But like people in this field will be like, "Oh, you became a therapist. Why don't you pay me $7,000 to like do something completely different after you just paid like 40,000 to like 200,000 to become a therapist?" I'll tell you that you can become, a public speaker, you can become like a consultant, you can like do other things that wouldn't have a 9 to 5. And let me tell you, I've never worked 9 to 5 in this field. I've worked 12 to 9. I've worked 2 to midnight. I have worked midnight to 7 a.m. I don't think I've ever worked a 9 to 5 in my life. Um, and never received benefits. Take that as you will. So when people are like, you can always consult to become like a public speaker or do workshops, maybe you want to do international workshops. You want to do international workshops, right? You want to like go find places for you to like spend a week with people who like you can totally transform their life. It'll be so great. Do like a one shot deal. Do make 30,000 in that time, because you're worth it. And it's kind of like it becomes almost sounding like an MLM. And all of those posts that I come across in my Instagram, my like sometimes on YouTube and everything, um, it's like it's so MLM that it's like, well, I can teach you how to have a workshop internationally. You can like work internationally, find a yoga therapist and like, do like, some yoga therapy and then like art therapy, regular therapy, like for 1 week. Abandon your clients. Sorry, abandon your clients for 1 week and like, just go off and like do something else. If I was ever gonna abandon my clients for like a month, it would be me doing like a Rotary like service project that would be like, oh, I made wells and taught people in like another country how to speak English. I didn't live well, you know, but I helped a lot of people make sure that they had access to, water and maybe like hospital services. Anyway, so like, but they'll like tell you all of these things. Like, you can become this after you become a therapist. Oh, after you get your master's, you can do this. After you get your master's, you can do that. Oh, after you can do that. I actually almost went into what is it? Psychedelic induced therapy. Um, but the thing is that like it was an $8,000 certification, and I would have to be with my clients for a long time in order, like, for like 8 hours, in order for me to know that they were like safe. And I had to make sure that they had their own transportation home. I don't know if you know this, but I don't work with a lot of people who actually have reliable transportation. So them trying to rely on other people to like take them home or make sure that they're like doing well is actually not possible. So I actually had to drop out of that like whole program. Even though like I really wanted to, it seems like it's really taken off. Um, I wish I could have done it, but I'm also like, it is so cutting edge that I just don't want to, especially with art therapy also being, I think at this point, 50 years into the whole field and still cutting edge that like not a lot of people have art therapists. I mean, I guess it's kind of like a draw, but it's still very difficult. Um, and I just end up, I think I've said this before, like, there was a time where like a lot of my clients were like art therapy clients, not anymore. It's very rare that I get like a client who wants to do art therapy. There are definitely clients who are interested in art therapy, and then when we talking about it and doing it, like it just becomes like almost like a hindrance, unfortunately, and it doesn't become something that like can actually be done on a regular basis. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, oh my God, the art therapists are gonna come out and be like, how fucking dare you? But it's also my opinion and my experience. So like you all can have a very different experience and I hope that you do, but like this is the experiences that I've had. And I've been in the field for quite some time. Anyway, I think that I'm gonna go. Anyway, I hope that was helpful for you, and I will talk with you soon. All right, have a good one.